Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that is a little different from the usual. I will be talking about what has been going on in the Time Rift Grotto of Exile over the past few months, if not longer. So, without further ado, let's jump into the video. If you've been playing this game for a long time, you probably remember when players used to farm Moonlight treasure chests and level up characters by spawning Mighty Eye switches, using summon scrolls obtained from chests like the Hydra chest. Or maybe you recall an even older strategy, where players would gather dozens of Washin generals that spawned every hour on the second floor of the regular Grotto of Exile. These were highly efficient farming and leveling strategies back in the day. Unfortunately, none of them work anymore, as drops and experience have been removed from the small monsters summoned by these bosses. The strategy that I'm about to show you is very similar in concept. However, there is no guarantee that it will remain in the game for long. Given the game's history with these types of strategy, it is quite likely that it may be patched out eventually. Now, there is no clear way to know who discovered this strategy, but the fact is, it's been spreading across platforms like Twitch and YouTube. One notable example is Dr. Metin2, a Turkish YouTuber who made a video about this a few months ago. This video is based on his own video, along with my own research on the topic. But enough background, let's get into the actual strategy, which is probably what you're here for. The strategy involves entering the Time Rift Grotto of Exile and gathering the bosses you find there. In this dungeon, the bosses behave differently compared to those in the regular Grotto of Exile. There are 11 fixed spawn locations, some rooms with one boss, others with two. When you defeat the first form of the boss, the Time Rift Captain Yongan, it transforms into the Time Rift General Yongan, which spawns right behind it. Here is the key part. The captains respawn every 2 minutes, but only if the previous captain has been defeated, regardless of whether the general is still alive. And that is what makes this strategy possible. While the strategy sounds simple, trying to gather the bosses in a regular way can lead to a couple of issues. The first one is that you can't be dealing too much damage, otherwise you will kill the bosses. You would need to reduce your damage in order to keep them alive, while still being strong enough to kill the small monsters. That is manageable, but it leads to the second issue. Because you're not dealing much damage, you won't absorb enough HP from hits to survive the incoming damage from the gathered bosses. This makes it hard to stack a large number of them. To avoid these two issues and make this strategy as efficient as possible, you will need to gather the bosses in a very specific way. First, you need two characters. You can either control them both or ask a friend to help you. Start by placing the first character in a room near one of the boss's fixed spawn points. Have them hop on a mount and wait in the furthest corner of the room. Meanwhile, the second character will head out and kill the captains, but very far away from the first character's line of sight. This part is crucial, and you will see why in just a second. Once the captains are defeated, the second character will lure the generals over to the first character's room and die next to him. This will make the generals start targeting the first character. The second character may need to die a couple of times to fully reset the aggro and make the generals focus entirely on the first character. Now, here is where the trick comes in. Since the first character did not see the captains die, they also won't be able to see the generals that appeared afterwards. So even though the generals can deal damage to the first character, the character won't deal any damage to them, as long as they do not move from their position. This means you can maximize your damage to quickly kill the small monsters, which reduces incoming damage from them and allows you to absorb more HP. One more important note. Make sure to kill the smaller monsters that spawn alongside the generals within the first character's line of sight. Just like with the generals, if those monsters spawn too far away, the first character won't be able to see or damage them. By killing them close to the first character, new monsters will spawn within range, and the character will be able to interact with them normally. All you need to do now is repeat this process until you have gathered a decent number of generals. You can get around 20 generals, which is already a great number, in about 25 to 30 minutes, using just one character to kill the captains. If you want to speed things up even more, bring a second character to help you kill the captains and gather bosses faster. Keep in mind that this dungeon only lasts for 1 hour, so once the timer runs out, you will need to start the gathering process all over again. Now, while this trick lets you gather a huge number of generals and maximize the strategy's efficiency, there is still one big challenge left. You need to be able to tank them all, and trust me, that is no easy task. To tank 20-something generals, you will typically need something like over 90% skill damage resistance, 100 plus lightning resistance, the highest possible amount of strong against demons, some HP absorption, since your high damage can help you healing, a decent chance to block melee attacks, so you don't get insta-killed if you get stunned, and, if possible, some chance to restore HP, since you will be killing loads of monsters. A Soul Crystal Necklace is a great option here because of this useful bonus. The Guardian's Amulet is also super useful. Not only does it boost your damage, but it also gives you skill damage resistance. And finally, don't overlook the Battle Lion mount, as it gives you 10% defense, which really increases your tankiness. This strategy is super useful for leveling up characters. If you manage to gather around 20 generals in about 30 minutes, and you use 550% bonus experience along with the Book of Leader Plus, you can level a character from level 110 to 120 in just 2.5 hours. It is also amazing for farming events. For example, during the Moonlight Treasure Chest event, with that same number of generals, you can farm around 200 chests every 2 minutes or so. And it doesn't stop there. You can also take advantage of events that don't require a loot bet, like the Yutnori event, where you can farm thousands of Yutnori boards in just a few hours and trade them for Yutnori secrets. Well, that wraps it up for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to share them in the comments below or in our Discord community. The link is in the video description. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for more content. Also, make sure to check out my other videos and my Twitch stream, which I will also link in the description below. There, you will also find an invitation link to create your own Gameforge account. If you're interested in playing Metin 2 and supporting the growth of this channel, feel free to use it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.